Hi everyone, this is Pastor Dan from Calvary Chapel, Cle Elum in Washington. We're back again with another installment on encouraging words as we talk to us husbands about how we can walk worthy of our calling as husbands. We've now come to part 9 of the series, and next week we are going to finish it off with part 10. Last week we talked a bit about the general attitude of selfishness that causes so many problems in marriages and elsewhere. And then we started to talk about various ways a husband can nourish and cherish his wife just as he does himself and just as Christ does the church. Ephesians 5:29 says, "For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as the Lord does the church." One of the ways a husband nourishes and cherishes his wife is by taking care of her physically. Another way is by taking care of her emotionally. Covering up our spouse's imperfections is the third way that we can nourish and cherish our wives. Okay, let's be real. We all have our share of imperfections and needs for improvement. Perhaps housekeeping isn't your strong suit, or maybe you're not such a good cook, or maybe managing the finances is not your strong point. Now, it's true that as we become aware of our flaws, we need to make an honest effort to overcome them, to improve, to get better. That's just a real basic way that we can express our love to each other, by seeking to improve in those areas that bother our spouse. But here's an important question for you guys. Are you more likely to manipulate your wife's flaws to make yourself look good, or to hide them so she doesn't look bad? Two options there, right? Remember in 1 Peter where it says that love covers a multitude of sins? So are you seeking to cover those flaws in your wife, or are you seeking to exploit them and expose them to make yourself look better? Are you always complaining about the messy house? Are you always making wisecracks about her cooking? Are you always putting down the way that she handles the money? Listen, any husband worth his salt will do what he can to cover his wife in those things, and he'll help out if he's able to in all of those areas where she might be weak. Since love is long-suffering, he will make an effort to be patient with her. Sadly, a lot of husbands act in the reverse way. These things irritate them to the point where they start abusing their wives. Their negative verbal communication is usually the first sign of abuse. Emotional manipulation, abuse, and mind games creep in very subtly. Tragically, there are cases where it escalates to actual physical violence. 3 men were on a business trip, and they met and were working together, and in the process they got pretty well acquainted. And as they got acquainted, they started talking about their wives. Well, one of the guys was from France, one of them was from England, and the other guy was from Canada. The guy from France said that he told his wife in no uncertain terms that from now on she had to do all the cooking and it better be good. Well, he said, the first day I saw nothing, and the second day I saw nothing, but the third day I came home and she had a great dinner on the table, and there was even a wonderful, wonderful dessert. The guy from England said he sat down with his wife and he said that from now on she was going to have to do all of the shopping and all of the cleaning. Well, the first day he came home and he saw nothing. And the second day he came home and he saw nothing. But the third day he came home, he noticed that the pantry was packed full of food and the house was absolutely spotless. Well, the man from Canada, who had married a somewhat progressive woman, puffed his chest out and he said that he told his wife in no uncertain terms that from now on she was going to have to do all the cooking, all the shopping, and all the cleaning. Well, he said, the first day I saw nothing. The second day I saw nothing. And the third day I was just beginning to see a little something out of my left eye as the swelling subsided. Now, I'm not advising this, ladies, and I want you men to know that abusing your wife in any way is immoral, outrageously sinful, and completely contrary to showing her love, care, and appreciation. Any abusive husband must realize that this beautiful woman is first and foremost God's daughter before she is ever his wife. And so the abusive husband is abusing a daughter of God when he mistreats her. The word contains severe cautions regarding that. Matthew 18:6, but whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Also, any husband who has a history of mistreating his wife should remember what Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 11:7. But the woman is the glory of the man. What that means is that she highlights her husband's qualities. Therefore, if a husband looks at his wife and finds something he doesn't like, guess what? She's merely reflecting his character. All she's doing is demonstrating the husband's personality and character. Marriage, as the old adage goes, reflects what it sees. Everything in front of it is only reflected by it. Any husband who complains about his wife should know that she is quite often a mirror image of himself. You know, it's true that some spiritually mature ladies have husbands who are sort of like Mussolini or Stalin. Somehow that's possible. But that woman, though, has figured out how to get the reinforcement and the affection that she needs from God rather than her spouse. God bless her, for she is truly an unconventional woman who, despite her husband's ungodliness and selfishness, she has grown into a godly woman by God's grace. Now, next week, we're going to conclude this series on husbands walking worthy, so I hope you'll come back as we wrap this whole thing up. So once again, I hope this has been an encouragement to you. If it has, would you do me a favor and click the like button and maybe share an encouraging word with me in the comments section? And then please, would you share this with somebody that you think might benefit from it? Also, if you're watching on the Calvary Chapel Cle Elum YouTube channel, would you subscribe to the channel? And if you're in the Cle Elum area and you don't have a home church, would you consider joining us on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 417 East Railroad Avenue in Cle Elum, Washington? Again, this is Pastor Dan from Calvary Chapel Cle Elum. Thank you so much for taking the time today to join me, and may God bless you and keep you. And until we're able to get together next week, my prayer is that we husbands will be more consistent in walking according to the plan that God has for each of us. In Jesus' name.